Live pictures there of Kenya's capital, Nairobi. Now the world is counting hours to the FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup finals. Is it going to be England or Spain? You'll tell me later, but that forms the basis of our conversation tonight. Women's football. Just what are the milestones garnered? What are the challenges faced so far? And most importantly, how can this sport be bettered? That conversation and the day's stories coming your way shortly, but first, the highlights. Six women and one child perish after they fell into a septic tank as they prepared to attend a wedding in Ruiru.
They happened to step on top of the bowl, and unfortunately it collapsed due to the weight.
A section of residents in the Galmagala area in Garissa County begin fleeing their homes as the governor now says the clashes are not tribal. And ahead of the FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup finals, we discuss women's football on Maasai. Just what are the milestones and challenges of female football? Right, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, you can engage with us on social media. Our handles being TV47 News on Twitter, at TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and my Twitter handle is at Grace Kuria KE. That conversation on women's football, we shall be having it later on in this broadcast. Now, my name is Grace Kuria Kanja, and our sign language interpreter tonight is Rhoda Nyamai. Now we begin with a tragic story where 6 people have been confirmed dead, with 11 others admitted in hospitals in Ruiru area following a tragic drowning incident occasioned by the collapse of a water well in Kihunguro area. The 17 were guests at a wedding in the area and had just made a stopover at the site of the incident. Sheila Chelangat reports.
Watu ambao walikuwa wamekuja pale kusherekea ili watoe msichana ndani ya nyumba kwa furaha wakao wako na uzito. Ni kama hapo mahali hapakuwa pametengenezwa vizuri.
It would later be the wedding of doom. The stopover by these wedding attendees at this residential plot turning tragic. Residents say that around 11 a.m. Saturday morning, this wedding guest had stopped here at a friend's plot and was singing and dancing on this concrete water well as they waited to proceed to the wedding grounds.
Tukasikia nyimbo, tukasikia mara moja watu wakitoka wakiwa wanapiga kelele. Tukauliza ni nini? Wakatuambia watu wameshaanguka kwa shimo.
Rescue operations began immediately with the residents working closely with the Kiambu firefighters.
Venye tulifika pale, tukajaribu kuokoa maji ikakuwa mingi, tukaanza kuchota na ndoo, tukapunguza mpaka venye ilipungua.
17 of those rescued were rushed to hospitals. Police now say they have launched their investigations into the tragedy.
I'm going to involve the physical planner and the planning team so that they can come and see the materials, the way the bowl was prepared, whether it was prepared in the correct way or they followed the proper procedure or it was not a procedure.
This, however, did not deter the wedding from going on. Sheila Chelangat for TV47 in Nairobi.
Really unfortunate there, and may the souls of the departed rest in peace. Now, Garissa County Governor Nathif Jammeh now says there are no inter-clan clashes in Garissa, further condemning the area security team for the increased tension in the area. Let's get more from Elizabeth Ateno.
Residents of Fafi constituency, Garissa County, have been left with more questions than answers after Governor Nathif Jammeh differed with security apparatus in the area, led by the Northeastern County Commissioner John Otieno, saying the attacks are not inter-clan clashes.
Wale wasita ambao walipigwa risasi wanatoka kwa clan moja. Wahusika ni wakora, ni bandits. Na hawa bandits walikuwa na nia ya pengine kulipiza kisasi kulingana na ile kifo ambayo ilitokea hapo awali.
Hii vita ambayo imetokea hapa sasa hizi ni vita inalingana na ile vita ya juzi ya huko Kuniso. Vitendo ambayo zimetokea Kuniso.
What's more worrying, however, is that tension is still high in Garissa Township and Galmagala, forcing residents to flee for safety, a move that has infuriated Governor Jama, who says the migration has forced the national government to suspend mining activities in Garissa County.
Bahati mbaya tena jana usiku tumevamiwa na wagenge upande ya Kinisa, walishambulia, bahati mzuri watu walitoroka.
On Thursday this week, Fafi Member of Parliament Salah Yakub's convoy was attacked in Degega by the alleged bandits just moments after he left a burial ceremony in Galmagala town.
Fafi ni mahali iko na shida Al-Shabaab. Pamoja na Ijara. Tulikuwa na shida Al-Shabaab. Tunashindwa kuleta serikali hapa kwa ajili ya Al-Shabaab.
A day later, another attack happened on the same spot after a 17-year-old was shot dead while transporting Miram from Bura East to Galmagala. The inter-clan clashes in Garissa County started on Sunday this week after a headless body was found floating in River Tana. But the latest remarks by Governor Jama have left affected residents wondering just what is the main cause of the attacks. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Right, and King's Outreach Church, said to be associated with Prophet David Awar, has dispelled some media reports that its deregistration was linked to the Shakahola happenings. The church's leadership said that the closure of the church was not as a result of any illegality, but a subject of internal resolution by the leadership. He said that an annual general meeting held on December 3rd, 2022 had already resolved to dissolve the church and in its place focus on Repentance Holiness Church in a bid to cut on financial costs. A Gazette notice dated August 3rd, the Registrar of Societies deregistered 5 churches, which include King's Outreach. Other churches were Pastor Ezekiel Odero's New Life Prayer Center, Good News International Ministries, Helicopter of Christ Church, and Theophila's Church. Moving on, and President William Ruto has assured his South Sudan counterpart Salva Kiir of fruitful bilateral relations between the two countries. Ruto said the two countries are pursuing joint infrastructure projects to enhance regional integration and boost trade. He said Kenya is keen on implementing the infrastructural projects under the Lamu Port South Sudan-Ethiopia Transport Corridor project. This, he says, will enhance connectivity, further integration and boost intra-regional trade for shared prosperity. However, the president called on Salva Kiir to work with Sudan to bring to an end the war that has been ongoing. South Sudan President Salva Kiir committed to hastening the implementation of the agreements to unlock the economic and social benefits of increased trade. The two leaders also discussed peace and security in Africa and the conflict in Sudan. President Kiir pledged to support efforts to de-escalate armed engagements and restore peace in Sudan. Ruto hosted South Sudan President today morning at State House.
Republic of Kenya. An honor to be here.
You have Kenya's full support as you work on what's going on in South Sudan, and I note with a lot of appreciation the achievement your government has had on the implementation of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in South Sudan. I urge all the parties to the peace agreement to expedite implementation of the pending tasks of the agreement.
We agree that these relations provide an avenue for our two countries to enhance mutual cooperation in areas of mutual interests. In line with IGAD With the IGAD mandate on regional security, we also deliberated on the ongoing crisis in the Sudan, specifically our attempt as the region to resolve that conflict. I also reaffirmed what I said in Cairo on the need to expand IGAD mediation in order to bring other initiatives under its umbrella. On issues we have discussed, President Ruiru and I agreed to continue working on them for the benefit of our region.
Right, and the Jubilee Party will soon present a memorandum detailing a list of demands it says must be addressed in the ongoing bipartisan talks. The party chairperson, Sabina Chege, revealed that some of the demands will include criminalization of protests by election losers, who she says must henceforth be held accountable for damage of both public and private property done during demonstrations. She further singled out that the party will rekindle the one man, one vote, one shilling debate to ensure equitable distribution of resources based on population of a certain region to avoid the winner taking it all trend. Chege further insisted that the memorandum will be seeking creation of the office of the official opposition leader, who will be keeping the government of the day in check.
Dialogue, though we were not given an opportunity to be on the table as a Jubilee Party. We are grateful because when we met in February 10th in Nakuru, one of the things that we said as a party is that we are supporting dialogue, and we cannot use criminal ways, we cannot use blackmail to ask for peace in this country or dialogue. So we are happy that the two excellencies, His Excellency the President and Raila Amolo Odinga, have actually had given a team some work to do.
Kwa pare na ni mambo ngapi? Tatu. 1, minimum guarantee returns ya our products. 2, mambo yetu ya kusema eliminations and boundaries commissions, kama tujawekewa pale hatuko kwa hiyo kwa bipartisan. Na mambo ya tatu ni mambo ya minimum guarantee returns, na mambo ya tatu ni ya minimum guarantee returns na boundary commissions and one man, one vote, one sharing. Hiyo mambo tatu kama iko pale, sisi you're not part and parcel of a bipartisan.
BBI is getting revived, and it appears some selective items or articles within the BBI are the ones that have actually been taken very keen, unlike the things that actually affect an ordinary man's life. Coffee, go to tea, go to cocoa, go to pyrethrum for those people who are in those areas that do always do those. Some of these are the major economy moving items in this country, because most of the farmers down there, they have educated their kids, they are doing their small businesses out of the profits they get out of it. If this one does not become the main item of concern for the national government and the leadership that is actually led by His Excellency Dr. William Ruto.
And weeks after Kenya was hit hard by a cyber attack, different stakeholders partnered to create awareness of cybersecurity. However, a shortage of cybersecurity experts has emerged as the major challenge to having fully protected websites. The government has also been called upon to ensure that all its websites have a secure sockets layer which prevents hacking attempts. This comes at a time when the government is putting most of its services on eCitizen. Speaking during the launch of Cybersecurity Awareness Week, SOTEHAB Director David Ogega has urged youths to embrace the cybersecurity profession as the demand for experts is high. This is in preparation for the Blue Economy Summit that will happen between October 27th and November 3rd.
The demand for experts in terms of cybersecurity is between 40 to 50,000. And yet we have less than 2,000 experts. So again, how can young people be able to take up these opportunities that cybersecurity portends? And so I think this event here today is kind of an introduction. We will have series also in the counties. We'll work very closely with the county governments of Kilifi, Taita, Mombasa, and Kwale. We'll work closely together with Communication Authority. We'll work with our funders, the Slovakade, and we'll be able to kind of come up with ideas and how can Kenya be safe in terms of cyber security.
You've posted online about your major achievement certificate. Those certificates, they have the certificate numbers, date of birth, your name. So that person is going to steal all of those information to create a fake account about you, or let's say a credit card in the corner picture, the credit card number. So they're going to steal that information as well, and they're going to transact. At the end, you'll get a notification that somebody has transacted huge sum of money, and you would be bedazzled, like, how did I do this? So those are the dangers, and most of the people who are using social media, they don't know these kind of dangers. They tend to ignore those kind of dangers. So we would like to create this kind of awareness,
equipping them with the right tools, with the right resources on how best they can stay safe online while either doing their study or conducting businesses, small businesses here and there, or hustling.
And it's time for a fast commercial break here on TV47 Weekend Edition. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Nitakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Maasai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, to pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
you respect people.
Ndani ya Mfahamu Kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Muchuku.
Kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka zitatoka.
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. Let's take you to Maasai land now, and over 5,000 Maasai Morans from Imoitanik clan have transitioned into elderhood in a ceremony held at Nailare village in Kilgore's constituency. The Enkipata ceremony ushers in Morans to young elders. It comes days before the much anticipated Ma Cultural Week set to happen in Masai Mara National Reserve.
In Nailare village of Ilmoitang, Kilgore's central, an estimated 5,000 Morans from the Ilmoitanek sub-tribe of the Maasai are gathered for a special initiation ceremony where boys transition into being men.
Celebrate this because this is a very important day for uniting our people and also for exhibiting our culture. The Maasai culture is the heritage of Kenya.
Wakianza kubaleki, wanafunzwa jinsi ya kuwinda, jinsi ya kuchunga, jinsi ya kwenda kuimba kwa utamaduni.
After that, the youth have their hair smeared with blood or red color before being shaved. This they call inoto.
We have today is called a unoto. And the unoto ceremony is perhaps the last stage of initiation from being a young man to being an elder.
Once they are done with this, a special ceremony is held where they drink fresh animal blood and feast on meat. This signifying that they have officially joined the men's club and are now ready for marriage.
Tunataka kutengeneza another edge set. Tunadhibitisha kwamba hiyo edge set ambao wamepaka hiyo rangi vichwa ni hiyo the same edge set peke yake. Lakini kama umesha pass that edge set uko kwa rika lingine, labda wewe ni mzee sasa, kufanya hivyo haiwezekani.
After this, there is a special tradition attire which they don. This to mean they are elevated to real warriors.
Sisi unywa damu ikiwa moto, kwa sababu initially tukichinja atukati shingo, tunanyonga kwanza, alafu tunadunga hiyo damu itoke na wapi? Na hapa kwa mshipa. Hiyo damu ikiwa moto sasa ndio unafanya nini? Na ndio maana saa zingine unakuta sisi hatuna mautambi kubwa lakini nguvu iko.
The climax of the rituals is scintillating Maasai music and dance. It is party time.
Hii sasa inaitwa orkarasha. Kwa manake shuka sasa ile ya Maasai ya Warani.
Narok County leader expect this year's edition to be record-breaking owing to the large number of tourists that have flocked Narok town. President William Ruto is expected to grace the ceremony at the Masai Mara Game Reserve as the chief guest.
Sisi kama Wamasai tunakaribisha wanawake wenza. Hata kitambo tulikuwa tunatumia kitanda kimoja. Tunatumia tu kitanda juu mzee ako na nyumba yake kando. Sasa mimi naenda kama Elvina na maliziwa, mwenzangu anaenda na maliziwa baadaye. Hatunapendana, hatuna chuki.
Mfano, manake wakati ule kama huwezi kumuinda simba hupati mke wewe. Je, unaona mila hiyo ingeregeshwa sasa, nyinyi mngekuwa wengi ni makapera bado?
Sasa hapo ndugu yangu, hiyo ni uongo, yale watu walikuwa wanadanganyana. Wanaposema eti kama huu simba upate mke,
na governors wote watatu na members of parliament wote ambao wanatoka jamii ya Maasai, na pia tutakuwa pia na MCS ambao wanatoka hizo kaunti, tukielezea jamii yetu vile ama ile mpango ambayo tuko nayo.
It is a day when everybody stops in order to celebrate their culture.
The theme for this year's Maasai initiation ceremony is peace and unity among the Maasai.
Tumealika His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto awe pamoja na sisi, na atakuwa na sisi siku mzima tukienda, kwa sababu tutakuwa na activities nyingi.
Ahmed Bahaj, TV47.
An interesting piece there by my colleague Bahaj. To the world of sports now, and double world record holder and double Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon Saturday afternoon qualified into the semi-finals of the 1500-meter race at the World.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Games, that is WASCO, held at the Ole Ntimama Stadium in Narok County. In the finals, Nairobi netball ladies team beat Kisumu, while the Kakamega team were declared football champions after defeating Eldoret in the finals. Meanwhile, the Eldoret team emerged as the champions in athletics.
I'm happy to be the champion of 100 meters. And I'm happy for the company to support kwa kampuni kwa kutusponsor kwa michezo, and I wish other companies all the best.
For the win. Shukrani zote napeleka kwa Mungu kwa kunipatia nguvu. Na tutaendelea na mazoezi, and hopefully next year tutaongeza time.
Remember that we had over 45 water companies, about that participated since 2014 to today, ambayo in the climax of the day. Na tumekuwa na games kadhaa, that is football, all the football games, ball games, athletics, indoor games. Idea and our objective is to make sure that we bring together our staffs to do the networking, and number 2, to benchmark, and number 3, to nurture the talents among our employees.
We are very happy. It has gone so well. The players participated so well, and everybody is happy. And the winners and the losers, there is no loser in these games, because it's an opportunity to interact and meet different players from different water companies, different cultures, and together we are able to interact and get the best practices from the different companies within the country.
And the FKF Mozartbet Cup winners, Kakamega Homeboyz, will be hoping to secure a victory in their second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup first preliminary round in Libya next weekend, after they played out to a goalless draw with Al Hilal in their first leg of the fixture at the Nyayo National Stadium Saturday afternoon. Now, throughout the match, Kakamega Homeboyz showed promise and maintained the upper hand in terms of possession. However, they struggled to find the back of the net allowed the visitors to hold firm and secure a barren stalemate. Speaking after the game, Kakamega Homeboyz head coach Patrick Odhiambo regretted the team's failure to capitalize on their chances, however adding that he drew positives from his players, including progressive build-up play that creates chances.
The men are doing today was about chances. We created a lot of chances, but we could not convert them. Of course, we have a big chance of winning that match. The better part of it is that they have not scored us even a single goal, so we are 0-0 still. But we are going to work on chances. Nilimpiga nani Shume sub, manake nilikuwa nataka naona amejituma sana. Amefanya kazi nzuri first half, akatuma sana na nilikuwa nataka more punch pale mbele. So nilikuwa nadhani Oscar akiingia pia ataendeleza mali alikuwa ametoka. Manake ilikuwa ni cha msingi sana tupate bao. Ilikuwa ni very important tupate one goal na tulikuwa tunatafuta hiyo goli sana. So Shuma alikuwa amefanya kazi nzuri. So tulikuwa na Oscar akija atasaidia. And then tulikuwa tuna wale jamaa walikuwa wanacheza back watatu. Na space za nyuma ndio walikuwa wanawacha sana. Ona. So tulikuwa to utilize hiyo space ya nyuma as fast as possible.
And Luis Diaz, Mohamed Salah and Diogo Jota were Saturday afternoon on target as Liverpool thrashed AFC.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038. Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Maasai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi. Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa, we could get money to pay our rent.
So stay with us. Let's take that break.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038. Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Nitakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Maasai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi. Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa, we could get money to pay our rent, to pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
you respect people.
Ndani ya Mfahamu Kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Muchiko.
Kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka. Zitatoka cheche, tutapiga mstari chini yake. Si bora michezo, ni michezo kwa ubora wake. Cheche.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. Time now for our conversation on women's football. Of course, on the back of the Women's World Cup, the finals taking place tomorrow. Is it going to be England or Spain? I asked you, remember? You're going to tell me later, because at some point we will be opening our lines and allowing you to call in live on 0768095491. Send in your contribution on this conversation. What can be done to better female sport? Do you actually watch female football? Do you? You know, you're going to tell me that, okay? And of course, that big question on the gender pay gap. Just why do men football players earn more than women, okay? So I'll expect your feedback on TV47 News on Twitter, TV47 Kenya on Facebook, and of course at Grace Korea KE on Twitter. Time now for that conversation. My guests are with me in studio. Karibuni sana. Thank you so much for joining. Nancy Atako, striker Kibra Women's Soccer. Karibu sana. And of course, my far left is Cynthia Mumbo. She is the founder and CEO of Sports Connect Africa. Karibu sana. And of course, we'll be joined by Andile Dlamini, who is Africa's top female goalkeeper, all the way from South Africa, and Lebohang Ramalepe, who is a South African soccer player, again from South Africa. Cynthia, I want to start with you, because we're having this conversation on the back of World Cup, FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup. What is your view of the whole game thus far? You know, it's unfortunate that we no longer have an African team left at a round of 16, but then you guys are the professionals today, because you know all these terminologies. I'm new in this, but what is your view of the games thus far?
Well, first, coming off the back of, you know, the history of women's football and what's been happening, I'm extremely happy. We're here talking about the Women's World Cup. Did you know that there has been several Women's World Cup before?
Oh, yes.
So we're here talking about the Women's World Cup. I think everybody's anticipating the final tomorrow. There's been a lot of conversation around records being broken, you know, in terms of attendance, in terms of viewership, in terms of just content generation. There's so much. This is stuff that wasn't happening before. For the first time, women are being paid, you know, commensurate to what they are putting down on the pitch. So for me, this is just the start of something that's going to be great and amazing. I know a few of the women and men who have been working at the international level to, you know, get the game to where it is. It's not been an easy journey, I can guarantee. But you know what? Work has been done. The visibility is there, and you know, when you give something visibility, there's always some sort of return. So very happy about it.
Right. And you know, I should have said this, because look at us. I mean, look at our attires, you know, Team Kenya, Tanzania, Nancy representing. It's football, so we got to dress up for it, right? Nancy, what are your thoughts on the Women's World Cup so far?
So far?
Unaonaje, hata kama Kenya, you know, hatukuwa, hata WASCO hatukuwa, lakini at least tulikuwa na South Africa, tulikuwa na Nigeria, tulikuwa na Morocco, tulikuwa na Zambia, yeah? They all made it up to the round of 16. Unaonaje?
Naona imekuwa poa, imekuwa ni, at least tumekuwa na team za Africa zimefika round of 16, zimejaribu, hiyo imeshow effort fiti. Ataka Kenya hatukuwa, at least zimeturepresent poa kama Africa. So it is a good start for women football in Africa na stepping stone. Yeah.
Okay, so nataka nibaki na wewe, because one of the big questions we're having tonight is the gender pay gap. Why is it that at this time and age, bado wanaume, male football players are still earning more than female football players, yeah? You're a player yourself. Ebu tuambie experience yako so far.
General or in Kenya?
General. Lakini nataka pia wewe your personal experience. Yes.
So unapata football ya madema, football ya wanawake haijakuwa ikiangaliwa sana, but sahi at least imeonesha level fulani, kuna support, mafans wanaja study wanaenda, but ikikam kwa payroll maboy still vijana wanaume still wanatubit kwa sababu kwa sababu ukiangalia football worldwide,
yeah,
wanaume wanachukuliwa wanapewa kipaumbele kushinda wasichana.
Yeah. But why is this? Why is this, Cynthia?
From a marketer's background, it's very simple. Where there's visibility, there is investment. Where there's investment, there's pay. And unfortunately, the women's game has not, for the longest, has not been getting their visibility. And it has always been compared to the men's game, you know. So you can't compare brand A and brand B. They're two different things, you know, especially when it comes to sports. So the fact that, you know, people say, oh, women's football isn't good. If you watched, for me, the best game this whole World Cup, the game between Nigeria and England, that was unbelievable. Everybody was talking about it. But ultimately, the fact that people are talking about it means people are watching, which means there's going to be some sort of investment. There's going to be corporate interest. You'll see the Visas of this world are now saying, okay, let's put money behind women's football. We're seeing so many different guys putting money behind, brands putting money behind women's football. But ultimately, there has to be investment beyond just sponsorship. There has to be investment in infrastructure. There has to be investment in health. Women's bodies are very different from men's bodies. There has to be investment in you know, in so many different areas. Long term. I mean, as a mother, I can say that me being a mother is very different from, say, my son's father. You know, if he was playing football, the way I'm looked at, oh, you've got your kid, you're expected to stay at home, and so you are expected to be given less.
Right.
In terms of just strategically, I think we just need to have a proper strategy and a proper structure around how women are remunerated. But women's football must be seen. It must be put on TV, the way men's football is put on TV.
Right.
You're in media.
Oh, yes.
So
and we're doing that. At least we're having this conversation.
Right. So I'm not blaming. What I'm saying is the value of media. What is seen is always rewarded. So if you have more numbers, you will find that there will be more interest from fans. And when there's interest from fans, there's interest to be able to sell to those fans, and they will want to come to the stadium.
Right.
So my thought and my biggest conversation when it comes to pay is get the women seen. Put them on that platform where you're showcasing their game, and the interest will come from the different quarters, and ultimately the girls will get paid as well as the boys.
And we're going to come back to that. We're going to talk more on visibility. But you mentioned that match, Nigeria-England, and reminded me of something. That photo that trended, you know, of Lauren James and Michelle Alozie, yeah? I don't know what your thoughts are. Was it at the heat of the moment? Is it because it was so emotional? I mean, this is a fight. We are fighting to qualify for the quarterfinals, yeah?
For someone who saying you're new to football, you're really good.
I am flattered, my friend.
No, for real, you're really good.
Thank you.
Even remember the names, fantastic.
Oh, yes, I do.
No, that happens. She'll say, it'll happen kwa game, you know, mtu ameanguka, amekukanyaga. The world will react because not everybody is on the pitch. Yes, it kind of, you know, was really wrong. And of course, the reaction from the coaches and some of the guys, you know, kind of trying to not blame Lauren. It was heat of the moment. But, you know, as the sports person that, you know, both of them, one of them came and said, hey, I'm sorry, this was really wrong of me. Yeah. And the other one said, guys, calm down, you know.
Relax.
But that, yes.
She told us to relax.
Yeah, guys,
but
relax.
we were ones who were angrier than her.
Yeah. And that's part of the game. That, you know, that emotion, that whatnot, that comes with the game. But ultimately, they behaved like ultimate athletes. They were so good about it. And the rest of the world was like, okay, kama huyu hajajam, mi mbona nimejam.
Exactly.
But, you know, it could have been different if she came and said, I really didn't like this was wrong, this was this and that. But, you know, she made the tempo really amazing and very professional. It was, for me, one of the best experiences for this World Cup, for sure.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're going to see Lorraine, yeah? Nancy, still on that, ebu tuambie practically, you know, kwa ground venye kuko, in terms of what we're talking about, the emotions, those heat of the moment periods where mtu anaweza fanya kitu rough kwa ground ya kwa pitch, si ati juu alikuwa anataka, but juu ya circumstances, juu ya venye tunataka kuqualify, tunataka kuwini kitu.
Wajua football inakuanga game ya contact. So emotions hutokea saa zile maybe mmefungwa kwanza ama mko kwa pressure mnatafuta bao. Alafu unapata kama mnatafuta bao, hii timu inawazuia msipate bao. So uko na hasira, labda wewe ndo playmaker. So wanakuzuia sana wewe. So unapata uko kwa hiyo pressure, huwezi piga ball, huwezi fanya kitu. Sasa hasira inakupanda. Zingine hazikuangi kwa kupenda kwa mtu, but ni ile tu uko kwa pressure, then unajipata umefanya kitu huko unataka kufanya. Yeah.
Ebu tuambie wewe, time yenye umekuwa na pressure na ukafanya kitu yenye uko unataka kufanya. Kwa sababu wewe ni mnoma. Kuna game umechapa hapa hat-trick bana. Kuna game mlipigana, nimesahau bana, ilikuwa 7-0 ama 7-1. Yeah? Some Premier League.
No, it was
some
FKF.
Yes. Ebu tuambie.
Inategemea pia na situation. Unajua kuna zile game ngumu. Unaweza unajua timu pia inakutegemea kama striker inataka result kutoka kwa, inataka ufunge. So unakuwa na ile pressure, unataka kufunga, maybe imekataa na wewe unataka kufunga, unafanya ile bidii unataka kufunga but zimekataa. Sasa pressure inakupanda, tu unaweza piga mtu kofi.
Ebu wewe tuambie. Nataka Nancy, ebu relax, ebu let loose. Ebu niambie ni siku gani wewe ulisikia kugonga mtu kofi, kupita na yeye?
Okay, mimi sijai chapa mtu kwa game. Nikicheza yoyote sijaitaka kupiga mtu, but nishaipandwa tu na pressure, nikamwambia referee akue fair, then akanipatia straight red card. So hiyo ndo emotion nakumbuka, ilikuwa tough.
Okay. So na kuna kitu kingine Cynthia alisema about the health ya wanawake, because today we're not just looking at football, the scores, you know, the goals and everything, but we're going beyond into women's issues. So obviously kuna challenges zenye wewe kama player mwanamke una face zenye mwanamume ha face, si ndio? Tunaweza ongea kuhusu hiyo.
Unapata challenges, unaona mpira kama nezongelea kama mpira ya Kenya ya football women in Kenya. Unapata challenges ni mob sana, financially struggle in Kenya kwa women football iko high sana. Unapata teams zina struggle kupata pesa kwenda games. Unapata sasa timu mingi za madem hazina sponsorship. So unapata zina struggle sana kupata hiyo So unapata sasa kama mdem, unajua mdem ako na responsibility mingi. Maybe ako na mtoi anacheza hii ball, anataka kulipia mtoi school fees, hizo zote. So unapata inampea pressure hadi anaenda ball, haimlipi, get anything, maybe wamefungwa, kirudi home ana anything. So unapata anakuwa so frustrated hadi anaacha, anaanza kuingilia business zingine. Maybe ni mdogo anapata ball, anaona ball haimsaidii, anapata ball, ama anaingia kwa pia pressure ya mtaa. So unajua mademu wengi wacheza ball wanatoka mtaa hizi. So ni challenge pia, plus pia support kwa mademu ni si high kama vile maboy wanapata support. So pia ni challenge kubwa sana.
Okay. Na tutarudi tu hapo kwa challenges, but I want to rope you in, Cynthia, because she's talking about, especially what I want us to dwell on is, I wouldn't call it health issues, but basically just how we are built as women. You know, we will have our menstrual cycle. Men do not. You know what happens during that time. So assume someone tomorrow kwa World Cup, and they're on their cycle, you know. Issues such as having children, motherhood, raising them. My colleague from the sports department of, you know, camera was telling me about how some of the players are even asked not to conceive, not to get pregnant, you know, because they're needed. Let's talk about that.
It's, I think, possibly one of the hardest things as a woman athlete and a former athlete as well, that we have to think about, especially our menstrual cycle. You'll find 70% or 80% of those who are coaching are what? Are women. I mean our men. Our men. They don't experience what we experience. And so, ukiingia pale kwa pitch, kuna period zako, mood swings uko nazo, mashida ziko hapo. Our body is built different. Kocha anakuangalia kwamba wewe ni nini nakusumbua? Hata umuelezeaje? Hawezi elewa. But I know that FIFA and a lot of the international organizations are now working to do research on what this means for women and women's football. And hopefully that, research will give us the kind of data that helps us understand what it means physiologically and psychologically for women. And hopefully the results will be able to give us, solutions for how we can deal with women. But in the meantime, it's telling guys understand that women are different, Saa zingine kuna mtu akona fibroids. Hizo vitu ziko. It's hard, it's not easy. As a mother, kuingia pale kwa pitch, my son's 15 now. But I remember I had to stop. And I was never really the same athlete after I got my son, and I had to think now, lazima nimraise, lazima nifikirie ataishiaje, lazima nifikirie everything around him, shule, nini, whatnot. So hizo vitu, they fall on you as the mother. Home in itakaje. There's expectations as a woman. Let's say, for example, if you're married, there's unaenda game na uko hapa. But it's changing slowly, especially at the international level. It's changing. It's changing. It's watu wanaanza kuongea. I know that currently, because of the CAF licensing, every team across Africa has now been told that, if you're in the Premier League at a certain standard, you have to have a women's team. So I've seen now all Premier League teams have attached themselves to a women's team. My prayer is that it's not just for PR. Eventually, there will be change that will come to the women, and we'll have things like insurance and things that will be able to take care of the physiological and psychological aspects for women. Yeah.
Right. And Nick, do we have the South African team? All right. They'll be joining us shortly. Nancy, still on that, because I want you to let loose. Nataka relax, Nancy. Utuambie kuhusu wewe, yeah? We're talking about motherhood. We're talking about most of the challenges that women face. Sindio, women in football particularly. Sijui about you in terms of motherhood, whether either kama tayari uko na mtoto ama unapanga, na kama unapanga, are you having to consider career yako kwa football that, labda nikipata mtoi saa hizi itanihinda, itani challenge, itanizuia kuendelea na career yangu? Sijui kama hizo ni vitu unafikiria.
Okay, yeah, ni vitu nafikiria. Unajua kila mtu lazima akigrow, lazima unagrow, ukigrow lazima utake kupata mtoi kawe ni dem, si ndio? But sasa pia kupata mtoi si eti ni kazi rahisi, na still uwezi kubalance si rahisi.
Sure.
Parenting na career pia in football si rahisi. So but tunaona kuna mademu tunaona kuna mademu wanafanya hiyo, wanacheza ball na pia ni wazazi. So inategemea, kwangu mimi inategemea na vile mtu anajipanga. Mimi as Nancy, nikipata mtoi bado naweza endelea kucheza ball. So inategemea na vile nitajipanga. Yeah, plan yangu ni still nitakuwa nikicheza ball.
Okay, sawa. All right, so Nick, my director, tells me we now have the South African team. Hello guys, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. That is Andile Dlamini, Africa's top female goalkeeper, and Lebohang Ramalepe, South African soccer player. I hope I pronounced your names correctly, ladies. Forgive me if I didn't. Karibuni sana, that's what we say here in Kenya. That means welcome. Andile, I want to start with you. You're fresh from World Cup. Just how did it feel to participate in the FIFA 2023 Women's World Cup?
Good evening. It's evening in South Africa. It felt so amazing. It was a great atmosphere, I think, a beautiful country. Although the weather was a bit frustrating at times. When we went to training, it was very cold with so much rain. and win at the same time. But we enjoyed ourselves and we made history, and we enjoyed just our atmosphere and just leaving everything on that field of play. And I know we'll be remembered for our culture, our football, our style of football, and also, you know, our respect for people. We did so much in that tournament that I know a whole lot of people in this world will not forget.
Right, we definitely will not, Andile. Rama, I want to rope you in. What was the feeling like for you? What was the experience like for you?
No, to be honest, it was amazing. Like, I think being at the tournament and also as a team reaching the last 16, I think it was truly amazing for the team, because we've worked so hard and we've been preparing for like so many years since we were knocked out in 2019. So we had to make sure like this time around when we go to this World Cup, we have to go there gun blazing. So I think, yeah, it was amazing for all of us.
And let's talk more about that, because I know there were so many hopes from the team, Banyana. The whole of Africa, I can tell you, was rooting for you guys. And of course, Nigeria, Zambia, Morocco. I mean, we just needed one of you guys to proceed to the, you know, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, even the finals. But we are proud of you guys. So how did it feel, this being the second time back in the World Cup? What were the expectations from you, particularly Rama, and the team at large?
To be honest, what we wanted to achieve was to get out of the group stage, of which it happened for all of us as a team. That was the tick that we had to tick in our list. But I think also no one believed that we're going to reach the last 16. But through hard work and dedication, I think we found ourselves in the last 16, of which we didn't get the results that we wanted, but I think we're going to live in this moment to say we were really good at the tournament, and I think we can achieve more, as much as we're going to tell ourselves, like, let's put our mind into this and then everything's going to be possible.
Right. Andile, how was it for you? Because we were actually together in Morocco for the WAFCON, and you were crowned the best goalkeeper at the WAFCON, and this is now the World Cup. What are your expectations?
I'm a team player. You know, that question is obviously every player wants to play, but if you're not given an opportunity to play, it's okay, because you're a team player and you need to play your part. And I played my part the way I could. I did my best, my level best in everything that I did. I put a positive front at training all the time. I gave myself more energy, and the ones that were around me that needed, you know, positivity, I did instill that in them. And for me, honestly speaking, I needed to be there, that extra man on the bench, you know, that makes a whole lot of noise, you know. When your teammates score, you quickly run and celebrate with them. Yeah, of course, but the past is the past. That's something else that I think people need to understand. Mm-hmm. Yes, I won at the AFCON, which is a great thing, but my teammates also helped me get that, and also my hard work. I shouldn't even, you know, close that. I worked extremely hard. I sacrificed a whole lot of things. I was fasting in that tournament. I made sure that, you know, I did everything possible, you know, to win the tournament, because Banyana had not won AFCON in so many years. So we needed, as a team, to win that one, for not only for ourselves, but the upcoming generation, and also the previous generation that worked extremely hard for us to get the platform that we got, and obviously also to better women's football in Africa.
Right.
You know, we're slowly growing and we're slowly getting the support that we need, slowly. We're not there yet, but I believe that we are going to get there. And like I say, it always comes obviously with us being seen on the bigger platforms, people getting interested in getting to know the culture of how Banyana does it, or how the Kenyan team does it, or Nigerian team. It doesn't matter, you know, but I think it's very important to leave everything, you know, when you get in bigger stages, because you attract a lot of WASCO sponsors. You attract a lot of, I don't know how to put it, but the more you are seen, the more it's possible
visibility
for women's football to grow. Yeah.
Right. Okay, and Andile, you mentioned noise, and this is not noise, but we're going to come back to you later on, almost at the end of the program, and talk about music, because I know about your love for music. But we're due for a break. My director, Nick, tells me it's time, so let's take that break. Stay with us.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038. Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Njiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Maasai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the conversation we've been having on women's football. Cynthia, let me come back with you. Visibility. I mean, you mentioned it. She mentioned it. South Africa, we've had it from them. Visibility. Just what do we do to enhance this visibility? Because like you were saying, it's what is going to translate to the money that we need, the more money that is needed for women football players.
Well, first things first is to make sure that we have the right infrastructure. So you can't show what doesn't look good, right? So we need to make sure that women's football is being given the same level of, in terms of infrastructure. So if they're playing football, let them play in proper pitches. Just a game, let them play on a pitch that is just as proper standard as the men's game. In terms of time, sale game inaonyeshwa prime time. Very rarely do we have women's, football being given the prime time in terms. I don't even think in Kenya I've ever seen like a live women's game properly. Am I lying, guys? I don't think so. I don't think it's even occurred to me. I think one time we were having we were doing something with basketball and we really insisted. But also, those of us who have the opportunity to do this planning and be strategic about it, we need to be very strategic around how we position women's football, women's basketball, women's sports, how we position women's sports in terms of structure and strategy for the next couple of years. Men's football is what it is because of years of that visibility. So let's say we want women's football to look ABCD in the next 5 years. We want 1 million people to be coming to the stadium in the next 6 months. What do we need to do to make sure that those 1 million people are in the stadium? And so then we can be able to sit down and sit with broadcasters and say, hey, I have ABC. So it's a matter of strategy. We need to have a clear strategy around positioning women's football as an attractive product, making sure that women's football has the requisite investment in terms of infrastructure, in terms of kitting, in terms of all these things. And ultimately what will happen is broadcasters will come. We usually have what we call in sports management, the sports diamond. And at the top, and right in the middle is the, is the sport itself. But at the top, we have actually at the top you have the sport. On the side you have the media, and on the other side you have the fans and partners and all these other stakeholders. Yeah. So if the sport is fine, if it's organized, if it's structured, if it has, some sort of proper objective and there are clear goals and a strategy around achieving those goals, the media will come. Because what will happen is it'll attract the fans. Guys will want to come and watch. And when you have what we call bums on seats, eyes on screens in sports management, the media will come. And when the media comes, we have to be able to own our narrative. Right now, who owns the narrative for women's football? Not so much. So we need to own our narrative. We need to say that this is what we want for women's football. This is where we want it to go. This is how we want it to look. These are the number of people we want, and be very clear around that. And it's not an easy thing. Yeah. I can guarantee, because I work on the back end. It is not an easy thing, but it's possible. The Women's World Cup, they've shown us. The Women's Champions League that ended not too long ago, they've shown us that if you have a proper structure, even those who own money will come to you and say, we want to be part of this, and ultimately where there's money, there will be visibility. Right. But it requires strategy for sure.
Okay, so I want to ask again the question on the pay, and I want the three of you, Nancy, Andile, Rama, to answer me. Does this sport pay? Wewe mwenyewe ukijiangalia. Na obviously unasikianga kenye wanaume wanapata, si ndio? Kwako unaona kama iko fair kwako kama mwanamke?
Fair as in
malipo, mapato. Malipo. Yes.
No.
Tuambie zaidi.
Iko fair as in malipo. Because the game is the same. So ikikuja pande ya kulipa, si the same.
Sasa hapo ndo nataka tuongelee.
Yes, kuna token, but si token yenye unaweza sema unaweza tegemea sana. Yeah.
Lakini ukilinganisha na Kenya wanaume wanapata
kidogo sana.
Endelea Nancy. Endelea.
Okay, kuna teams zinapeana token na kuna team unaweza pata mostly hizi teams za Afrika. Kuna nezongelea sana pande ya Kenya. Kuna teams zinapeana token na kuna team hazipeani. Kuna teams ziko na promises na kuna teams zina totally, kwa sababu hazina hizi hazina sponsorship. Watu wana come in kusema sisi tutawasaidia hivi nyinyi mkicheza, ama corporates wanakama wanasema sisi tutawaajiri nyinyi mtuchezee mkimarket. Hizo ndo tuna lack. So ikikamkuwa payment, wanawake wanaumia.
Right. Okay. Rama, let me rope you in again, because we are discussing the pay. And one of the questions that we have been asking our viewers is, their view on the gender pay gap between male football players and female football players. From your perspective and from your experience, does this sport pay for women? Rama, did you hear my question?
I can't hear you.
Rama, can you hear me? Okay,
yeah,
in a nutshell.
Now I can hear you.
In a nutshell, Rama, we're discussing... Okay, Rama, we're discussing the gender pay gap. in your perspective, does this sport pay for female football players?
To be honest, I would say, nah, it's not. But I think from now on, things are starting to look much better. Also, it depends where you're playing. I think Africa as a whole, we are still struggling in our leagues. But also, you need to check where other leagues are doing great, like the likes of in Europe, in Asia. I think there's money there. But then with us, we still need more investors. We need more sponsors so that we'll be able to survive throughout this football life that we're living, because it's not the same with the male counterparts, because now you have to go to training, but at the end of the day, you're not getting paid, but then still, you still go and do what you love. But I think maybe sooner or later, things are going to change, and then maybe we can live out of football.
Okay, and Rama, talk to us more about that, because you have experience playing internationally beyond Africa.
Yes, I think I've played in Belarus. Belarus is where I think it was much better. We were getting paid, but it was not enough. But also, you need to check the level of the league where you're playing in. Because now, here in South Africa, we're playing in the Hollywood bets. There are no investments. It's just Hollywood bets, of which they can't pay all the teams. You understand? But I think when time goes on, investors must come in, sponsors must pop in, so that we'll be able to live out of football.
Right. Andile, let's talk about how far we've come in this sport for women, because apart from that pay issue, which I also want to talk about, there's so many milestones which, in my opinion, have been made, in terms of earlier, sorry, actually. Okay, Andile, Kitambo means in the past, So in the past, we would see this sport being called a sport for men. If a woman wants to play, it was a bit of unusual. I don't know if that's the same in South Africa, but let's talk more on the milestones that have been achieved in as far as female football is concerned.
We are slowly growing, and like I said, it's how you display yourself on that field of play. And with women's football in South Africa, the reason why it's growing as quick as...
Sorry.
Okay. All right. We lost her there, but she'll be back, okay? She'll be back. So, Cynthia, there's a statement that was issued by FIFA today, and there's a line I'm looking for here, which actually said that, they're calling on us women to... Look at this thing embarrassing me live on air, because there's one particular statement that I had. Here it is. He says, 2023 Women's World Cup, simply the best and greatest and biggest Women's World Cup ever. Actually, this World Cup generated over $570 million in revenues, and so we broke even. We didn't lose any money. We generated the second highest income of any sport, of course, besides the Men's World Cup at global stage. What does this mean? Are we making strides, and huge strides at it?
When FIFA says they've made money, they've made money. And that for me is a big deal. Coming from the back of the fact that there was no sponsorship for women's football for the longest time. Those who have taken the risk of supporting women's football have made their money back. There's a lot of respect for those brands that have said, we will work with women's football, but also a lot of respect for FIFA putting a stand and saying, this is our objective. There will be women's football. We will make it in such a way that across the world, if you're a men's team or if you're in this space, then you must support women. It's a very deliberate thing. So now it's up to those of us who are on the ground to say, the bar has been set, it has been raised. What can we be able to do? What I like about that is that there's a figure that has been put.
Oh, yeah.
There's no business without numbers, right? So we can talk all we want. We can say women's football this, women's football that, men's football this, men's football that. But if we are not careful and keen and clear about what numbers or what objectives we're looking at, then it really doesn't, make any difference. And I'm very happy that they can, from the back of what they did in the last World Cup, they said that we invested A, B, C, D, and we have made $517 million. So they have something to say in the next World Cup that we must beat this $517 million, or the investment that we want in women's football in the next 4 years needs to be bigger than what we did in this particular World Cup. And they're able to measure it, they're able to review it. That is something that needs to be picked by all, whether it's federations or teams or whatnot, that idea of being able to review yourself and understand, one, the money behind it, two, the fans who are watching, three, the content that is being generated, being able to use data to review yourself, I think is very, very important. So that statement is something that's very, very powerful. It's up to us who are working behind the scenes to say, how do we then, look for investors behind to invest behind women's football and make sure that our athletes, who are, for me, the ultimate sports stakeholder, live the life that they deserve to live. And the second best, the second stakeholder that's very important, the fan, gets to really enjoy the entertainment from the athletes. Everybody else, is around, is for us to enable these two, for the athletes to really be valued and get the best, and for the fans to say, I'm spending my money, I'm spending my shilling, I'm spending my dollar to support women's football because I'm entertained and I'm happy, and this is something that I know is making a difference. But we have to be very deliberate about it. That statement is a very deliberate statement.
Right. Nancy, still on that statement, kuna part anasema, anaambia wanawake because of all these complaints on gender, pay gap, because of the complaints on visibility and everything. Anasema you have the power to convince us men what we have to do and what we don't have to do. You do it. Just do it. With me, with FIFA, you will find open doors. Just push the doors, they are open. Sijui kama we kama player, una feel like this is true, kama ini ukweli kwa ground, uko na uwezo, kama uko na any complaint, for instance, uko na uwezo wa kupush, uko na uwezo wa kuongelesha mtu kwa management, FKF, anybody, mwenye unaweza, Cynthia, Bana, that look, do you have that ability to reach out to someone with whatever complaints or challenges that you may have? Because hapa wanasema ni sisi hatunok, mlango iko wazi, ni sisi hatutaki kuingia.
Ku reach out as in kupeleka complaints.
Yes, or any challenges kwa or FIFA, any suggestions. Si kwa FIFA, tuongele tu hapa kwa ground kwanza FKF, yeah? Any suggestions unaweza kuwa nazo za kuchange. Cynthia, you really want to chip in? Haya, you will have your say on that. Ebu tusikie kwanza we, Nancy.
Mimi naweza sema tu vile Cynthia amesema, unajua lazima ujimarket ndo sponsor wa come in. So kwa FKF ni grao, at least women football waweze kupewa chance ya kuchezea grao poa. Pia corporate kama hizi live televisions iweze kuonesha hizi women football hata kama ni 2 ama 3 live kwa TV kuwa market. Pia sponsorship wakichipin itakuwa better, mimi najua.
Sawa. Cynthia?
That was a bit of a condescending statement. I know it was.
Much to say.
The statement really raised hell amongst women in the Twitterverse today, and I know he meant well. I know that Infantino meant well, but is it really up to women to go and say, this and that? We're already in a space where we're behind and we're having the issue. So I understand what he was trying to say, but my take is it's up to the world to accept that women are here and we do not have to ask for anybody's permission to be on the table. That we are here, our sport is amazing. Unfortunately, we might not like it. We live in a man's world. But the truth is that we are here. I know it's a bit difficult, and I come from, I run for president of the Basketball Federation, so I can tell you it's not the easiest of things to be able to stand against the status quo. So it's not easy, even the question that you're asking her, for her to answer, to say, can you stand against, can you reach out to FKF and whatnot? She has to be very careful with her answer. I mean, I'm not an athlete, so I can sit and say A, B, C, D. And I know that I always stand for some of the tough conversations that need to be had, but to be very to be very honest, I know that FIFA's president is coming from a place where he's saying the door is open, but the reality on the ground is that the door is not necessarily as open as, people will ask you, so who do you think you are?
Right.
What makes you think? And that's the reality. I mean, it's hard to say it, but it's the truth. What makes you think you should walk into my room? Why are you simgoje? Sisi ndio tunaamua ni nini happen. So not necessarily the easiest conversation, but what we're saying is that we're women, we're here, and we will be heard.
Right. Okay, so I'm told we have Andile and Rama back. Andile, let me come back with you. Sorry, we lost you there. But we should be closing in a few minutes. So as part of your closing remarks, before you sing for us, because you have to sing for us, Andile, let's talk about the future. You're smiling. You will sing for us, Andile. Let's talk about the future of football. I mean, can women actually just make it a career such that we totally depend on football to foot all our bills, as opposed to occasionally you're on the pitch, but you have to do some other work on the side to pay your bills? Can a woman, a female football player, depend on this sport for a living?
Yes. The answer is yes, because why am I saying this? At Mamelodi Sundowns, we have professional contracts. We are getting the amount that I feel right now is a startup for women's football, and we are leading, the pack, especially in women's football, and South African women's football. And slowly but surely, we are getting there. There are teams that are getting paid as well, and almost all of us at Mamelodi Sundowns don't do a whole lot of things, but go to, Mamelodi Sundowns and train. Obviously, we have extra things that we do. We are business women, we are educated women. We do extra things that we do, but after we play football, because that's what they want us to do. That's what they are instilling in us, professionalism. And I foresee us growing even faster than we thought, because of the management that we have, because of the chairman that we have, he's supportive when it comes to women's football. And the only thing that can make us grow even further is if investments come on board. And I think great women's football display would be the step, of growing women's football. When you look at the South African women's team and you check how we play our football. You check Mamelodi Sundowns at CAF Champions League, how we play our football. You check how we played in Morocco in the previous CAF Champions League. We attracted a whole lot of people and a lot of sponsors. I mean, the stadium was full. It is possible. We are getting there, and I believe that it is possible if things are done the right way. If sponsorships come on board, if broadcasting women all over, we have the South African broadcasting television show, which is SABC, that is trying so hard to broadcast women's football. But I'm urging that even SuperSport broadcast, because when you broadcast.
Okay. All right, we'll have her again. Don't worry, she has to sing for us. Rama, as part of your closing remarks, I mean, there's so many women watching you tonight and would want to get to where you are. You've played for Belarus, you're back in South Africa playing for Mamelodi Sundowns, you were at the World Cup. I mean, that is an experience that any female football player would want. What would you tell them? What does it take to get to the level where you are right now, Rama?
I would say one needs to be dedicated, one needs to stay disciplined. I think those two things goes a long way. I believe everyone wants to reach their dream, of which is to go to the World Cup and also play in a bigger stage of football, World Cup, Olympics, and also playing in a professional league. Like when we stay in Africa, we always talk about we want to go to Europe, but I think when things are going the way they're going now, I would say we still want to stay at home because we want our people, CAF, also our federation, to professionalize women's football in Africa so that we don't have to say we want to go abroad. So we want to stay at home.
Right. Just stay with me, Rama and Andile there. Cynthia, there's something that we're really running out of time, but there's something we really need to talk about, and that is cases of sexual harassment. Yeah? I mean, just in this World Cup, FIFA is investigating allegations of misconduct involving the Zambia team at the Women's World Cup, yeah? And if my memory serves me right, we had this same incidents during the WASCO time in Morocco, that is last year. I mean, why is this? Is it because we don't have many, female coaches? Is that the solution?
Basically, the truth is, what you're seeing on the football space with regards to sexual misconduct is really a reflection of community of society. It's very unfortunate. I know that there was a different TV station the other day that had a show on athletics and how girls are being misused. We've had an issue in Kenyan basketball where a coach, it was such a big issue. For me, I think there needs to be very high level of, how would I put it? There needs to be sign-offs. If you come in, if you're a manager, because we're not saying that because you're a man don't manage women, but we're saying that there needs to be standards set. You need to sign a contract that because when I look at those contracts, I don't see anything about there's always just misconduct. But I think we need to be clear about specific and clear about sexual misconduct, and you sign those contracts, whether it's women or men, that they need to sign contracts that say if there's any issue. Because if you put it on that paper, then basically you're telling them that it is written and it is clear. But where we are now, yes, it is an issue that is a problem within society, and the courts and the justice system already has that. But sadly, you find that there's a lot of intimidation for girls. It's hard to speak up. You'll find that maybe this coach is the one that got you this scholarship. He's the one that alikupatia, this opportunity to play in this team. And he holds your life's keys, because for you, football has gotten you out of the street. It has gotten you out of the ghetto. And they know that they're holding your life at a balance. And if you drop, there's somebody else who will sit behind the scenes and say, let me keep quiet if it's going to give my child something. Right. Let me keep quiet and take the nonsense if it's going to give my family something. Right. But what we're saying is that there needs to be very clear legislation. There needs to be clear rules. People need to sign contracts and say that I commit to not doing A, B, C, D. And if I do, it has to be written. It sounds like a very simple thing, but you'll find that there are people who probably do not will not want to do that. But I think it needs to come off very clearly. And there needs to be very big repercussions to anybody. I think if FIFA takes the steps with the Zambian team, if anybody is found guilty, I'm not saying anybody is guilty, but if anybody is found guilty of these allegations, then FIFA needs to take very big steps. It doesn't need to mean, for many times you find that coaches are told, leave the coaching. Right. There needs to be proper repercussions. You need to go to jail. You need to, you need to pay. It needs to be that way. Yes, so that it sets a precedent for anybody who's thinking of this. But it's so strife in sports across. But it is also a reflection of what the society has. Unfortunately, when it comes to sports, this is the hand that is holding this, young girl's life and saying, if you don't give me this, then I'm not. And it's so hard for girls to come and speak up. Right.
Nancy, let me get your final remarks. Tuambie future ya hii game, unaiona ikiwaje, especially kwa wanawake. Unaona future ikiwaje?
Future ni bright.
Na uongeleshe pia madem wanakuwatch saizi, to dame, to girls, tunakuwatch, tunataka kuwa kama Nancy, kuscore hat-tricks, kuscore 18 goals, 25 assists, ebu uongeleshe.
Wasi lose hope. Future ni bright. If only hizo challenges zitashughulikiwa. But still wa push. Mimi najua vitu zitakuwa better hapo mbele.
Na future ya hii game?
Na future football. Mimi najua future football itakuwa better hata hapa Kenya, na najua Kenya tutafika World Cup one day.
Safi, amen. Do we say amen? Yeah? Yes. Okay, do we still have the South African team, Nick? Do we still have them? Andile, Rama, are you still there?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, great. Okay, so we are completely out of time, but I love this song, Andile. Ambawe. You have to sing that for us. I really do. Please go ahead. We have less than a minute.
Am I supposed to sing that song?
Yes, please.
Okay. Atande sasandya hamba atandwe sizafonelana kuwe ingqondo yami kuwe bazophela abantu hamba wena. This is where Rama needs to join.
That's the only part. Yes, of course. We're joining. You should see me. In fact, let's stand. You should see me in studio and be like, Ambawe na. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Andile. Thank you so much, Rama. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your contribution today. Thank you, Nay, for linking us up with the two. We do appreciate it. About to wrap up, lakini Nancy, hebu tuonyeshe skills zako kidogo hapa. Tuko na bola hapa hivi. Pepeta hii kitu.
Hapa juu.
Hapa ni sawa tu. Tutakupata. Hey. Cynthia, do you see that? Can you do that?
No.
Wow.
You tell me about basketball, maybe I can. But
maybe sasa hakuna kitu. All right, we've come to the end of our program today, our broadcast today. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. Apologies, we couldn't sample your feedback, pick your calls because of the time that we had today, but we do appreciate. Thank you so much. Nancy Atako, striker Kibra Women's Soccer. Cynthia Mumbo, founder and CEO of Sports Connect Africa. Lebohang Rama Lepe, all the way from South African, a South African soccer player.